Hey everyone, it's Mike Bond with Hard Money Mike. Today we're going to go over fix and flip loans, hard money basics, the key numbers, all of those key items just to make sure you're on track and profitable. So if you're thinking about flipping homes, but you don't have the cash, hard money is a great tool because it's fast, it's flexible, and it can stretch out up to 100% financing. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. So let's break down the ABCs of the terminology and the numbers by going through an example. We'll look through all the numbers and we're going to make it easy for you because we're giving you a free download, a free Excel spreadsheet. Check below, we'll have a link. It'll download the same Excel spreadsheet that you could use just to run your high level numbers to make sure it's profitable. So let's grab the spreadsheet, let's throw in some numbers and run through the terms as we do it. When you're looking at a property, typically where you start is where the lenders will start too, which is what are your key numbers? We're going to type in your purchase price. That's your contract price. How much are you buying the property for? In this case, we're just going to use an example of $200,000. So let's type in $200,000 for the purchase price. Next, we need to know how much are we going to put into the property. Call it the rehab budget, scope of work, whatever your terminology is. How much do you need to finish the project? So in this case, let's use $50,000. We have a purchase price of $200,000. We have a rehab budget scope of work of $50,000. We're going to add those two together. We're going to get $250,000. We're going to call that your hard cost. That's the purchase, the rehab, the big numbers that you're going to put into the property, and we're going to go over soft costs later. Number three, when you're looking at a project, just like a lender, a hard money lender, they're going to ask you, what's it going to be worth when it's done? That's called the ARV, or the after repair value. So what does the market say this property is going to be worth once you fix it up, once you get everything done, and you sell it in the open market? What will it appraise for? What will someone buy it for? So you're gonna have to go out and get some comparables, find out the value, either go to Zillow, do it yourself, Privy, some of the software packages out there, or ask your realtor. The realtor that's gonna list it should help you figure out what it's worth now, or even if you want, get an appraisal. But we need to figure out what the property will be worth once it's completed, all the rehab is done, and it gets on the market. So we have our key numbers, we have the purchase, we have the rehab, and now we know what it'll sell for. Now let's look at what lenders will lend, and it's based on the after repair value. That's one of the other reasons we needed it in the finance world, is to see exactly what's the maximum loan that they could give you on this property. And it varies by lenders, but typically out there, 80% of the lenders, if not 90%, are offering up to 75% of the after repair value. Remember, we calculated the after repair value. In this case, if I didn't say it before, let's just say we used $350,000 as the after repair value that we calculated. So the maximum allowable loan that this lender will give us is the $350,000 times 75%. Or if you can put it in your calculator, it's 350,000 times 0.75. The great thing, you put it in the calculator that we're giving you, the Excel spreadsheet, it'll do it for you. In this case, we have a maximum allowable loan of $262,500. Now that's the maximum they can give you. That does not mean they'll give you that amount, because they're not going to give you more than the purchase price and the rehab. They're not going to go that high. If you put in different numbers, that maximum may be even lower than your purchase and rehab. Every property is going to be different. Every rehab budget, purchase price, all those things. That's why this tool is invaluable, to make sure you understand what your numbers are before you actually even put it under contract. Now we have some basic numbers. We've run through everything. We found out our purchase, our rehab, calculated our ARV, or had someone help us with our ARV, and now found a maximum allowable loan. Remember, reach out to the lenders in your area to find out what their maximum ARV is, and some of these other numbers that we're going to go through. Now, I know this seems probably like a lot, and that's what this calculator here is, this Excel spreadsheet is here to help you with, is to make it a little easier for you, because we understand there's roadblocks, and I would love to know what the roadblocks you have found as you've gone through this journey, as you're going through the journey of finding money, making sure it's the right money. Is it the lenders out there? Is the misinformation out there? Or is it just a surprise that when you get to the table, the numbers don't match up? Let me know in the comments below, and let's run through the rest of these numbers just to make sure you're on track and get this project funded. So let's go down to part 2 on this Excel spreadsheet. Here we're going to find what you, the property, are qualified for with your lenders. Now, lenders are going to offer you a percentage of the purchase price. Sometimes with hard money, you're going to get 100%. Depends on your overall ARV all in, but most lenders are going to lend somewhere between 80 and 90% of the purchase price. Once again, That is based on your qualifications. That means experience, credit score, not really in hard money, credit score doesn't matter, experience, liquidity, and anything that meets their guidelines. But we're just going through an example here today. So let's run the numbers. Let's just say it's 80%, meaning they're looking for you to put 20% down on the purchase, and they're going to cover the other 80%. So on this purchase, remember the purchase price was $200,000. In the top line, we're going to put 80%. And the calculator is going to spit out that they're going to lend up to $160,000. Now let's go to rehab. Most rehab, they'll fund anywhere between, again, 80 and 100% of the rehab, because the lenders really want to make sure you get the project done. And they're going to put this money in what they call the escrow account. And that's what they're going to set it aside. And as the project gets moving, as you get the work done, they're going to release some more funds. Now, let's say on this project, they're going to lend 90% of the rehab costs. Remember, we said it was $50,000 for the scope of work rehab. And what we're going to find out here is that they're going to lend $45,000 of the rehab. The maximum loan on this property with these criteria, remember, each person is going to be different. These numbers, the LTVs, whatever they offer, are going to be different. So make sure you reach out, find out what the maximum on the purchase and on the rehab will be. And that's where you put them in this calculator to see where your numbers flow and see what the amount that you have to bring in, what they're going to fund, and just to make sure it's even a profitable endeavor that you're getting into. So they're going to fund 160 of the purchase. On this example, 45,000 of the rehab. So they're going to give you a loan of $205,000. Now the cost, remember the cost in our case was $250,000 for the hard cost. The hard cost again was the purchase and the scope of work, the rehab. So if they're going to lend you 205, the purchase and rehab was 250, that means you're going to be responsible for, on the hard cost, 45,000. Now, where does that money come from? That's probably one of the biggest sticking points we've seen with people who are not successful in real estate investing, is not being prepared to not only have these costs, but we're going to go over closing costs and carry costs also, because you need to know all these numbers. There is good money in real estate investing. You just have to understand what you're getting into just to make it easier for you. We have another channel where we talk about funding what we call your money bucket, making sure you're properly funded with available funds to make sure you cover all these things. So check us out in the Cash Flow Company. We go over your money buckets and how to fund these particular items. So hard costs, we know we have $45,000 in costs there. Now let's just estimate our closing cost. Remember, we are going to have to close this with a title company or an attorney, and there's going to be lender costs. So it's going to be somewhere between 2 and 4%. So in this case, let's just use 3%. You'll find out from your lender exactly what their points are. That's the cost that they're going to charge for origination. You're also going to find they'll give you a term sheet, and that'll go through all the costs that they have, from appraisals to escrow fees to underwriting, whatever it is. They will give you those numbers when you talk to them. So make sure you calculate that in when you're looking at this. But in this case, we're just going to use 3%, just a standard number, just to see where we come out with the numbers here. So it's 3% of the loan amount. The 3% of the loan amount is a little over $6,150. So when you go to closing, that's where you sign all the paperwork to transfer the property over to your LLC. You're going to have to bring in the closing costs, the title costs, the lender costs. You're also going to have to bring in the down payment. Some lenders will also require you to bring in your portion of the escrow. You may have to bring in the whole $45,000 plus $6,150. You have to be prepared to bring that money in, plus once it's closed, once you have the project in your hands, most lenders will also require you to pre-fund the escrow. Remember, the escrow is where the lender sets aside the monies for the fix-up. But they're not going to typically give it to you or send it out to you, pay you back until the work is done. The lender is lending you the money based on the after repair value. So at the end of all the money being out of the escrow account, the property must be done and at market value. Most lenders, probably 90+% of them, are going to require you to order the materials and do a certain portion of the work, and then they'll refund you. And then you do it again, and they'll refund you. What does this mean? You're also going to need some money to get the project going, to pre-order the windows, the doors, whatever it may be, to pay down the amounts that your contractors require, or even just to get the demo going, whatever it is. Make sure you have those funds available too. This is the number one thing we see when we're talking with new investors or even those who haven't gone through a lot of properties, is they're not properly funded. Make sure you're properly funded on this, because you can see as we go through these numbers and put in your own numbers. That's what's great. Once again, go to hardmoneymike.com. You could download this for free. There'll be a link below. And put in all your numbers. Make sure you know before you get into it all your basics, your purchase price, your rehab, your ARV, the amount that you have to put down, how much are they putting in escrow, and what is the requirement to get your money out of escrow so you can keep the project going, and paying the contractors and getting the materials you need. On top of that, just remember, because this comes up all the time, is on every loan, you're going to have a monthly payment. That monthly payment is typically interest only, but you need to put that in your budget. In this case, we're going to put 10% as far as an interest rate, because it's always interest only. It's a simple interest, typically no prepays on hard money loans. Put in 10%. In this case, you're going to find you have a payment every month, typically 1 month after you close, because interest on any kind of mortgage is always interest in arrears, which means if I close today, interest accumulates over the next 30 days, and then your payment is due. And if your payment is due, it's paying the interest from the closing to your first payment. So you're going to have a payment every month until you sell the property. In this case, it's a little over $1,700. You have to budget for that also. The great part of this tool is it's going to go through, show you those numbers, make sure you fit in the box, and make sure you have the money you need to get it done as fast as possible. We talk about this a lot. Fix and flips, even rentals to burrs, all come down to buying good properties and getting them done fast. The longer it takes, the longer it drags out, it's going to cost you money, profits are going to go down, and stress will go up. Make sure you're properly funded. Make sure you know what they're going to fund and what you need to fund. And this will be a lot easier and a lot more profitable adventure in real estate investing. I want to make sure I answered all the questions, so if I missed something, or if there's one question you have about hard money or the terms, just leave a comment below and we'll get right back to you. And remember, this is available for free, hardmoneymike.com, a link below, and we'll catch you on the next video.